Hello everyone, this is my Transformers Age of Extinction review. We're going to be doing likes, things that they could have done better, and some questions that we were presented with in the film. So, the scene with the humans going after Ratchet was very interesting and a smooth way to introduce the new character of Lockdown into the film. The opening scene of the movie was very interesting, and I liked the idea that it was not an asteroid that made the dinosaurs go extinct. Rather, it was the makers of the Transformers, whoever that is. Since I really hated Transformers Animated, which is the show that Lockdown is first introduced into, I actually enjoyed this version of Lockdown a lot more than the animated version, and his Lamborghini mode is really awesome too. Cade is a wonderful human character and a hell of a lot better than Sam ever will be. I mean, Cade actually picks up a gun and uses it to shoot Decepticons, where Sam just stands back and whines like a little baby. Let's talk about the Autobots. Firstly, Optimus Prime. So in the starting of the movie, he's in his evasion mode, which is the flat-nosed truck, which is, for anyone who's a G1 fan like me, it's a huge homage to G1 truck. And then when he transforms, he still has his similar look to that of Dark of the Moon. And then in the canyon scene, when he's calling all the Autobots to him, he scans that new truck, and he transforms into the new truck while the humans are still inside of him. That was actually really funny. And then his new truck is really awesome. And then his new robot mode is also, personally, to me, I love his new robot mode. It's just, I don't know, there's an aesthetic to it I just like. Crosshairs, he looks cool with that whole trench coat idea. And of course, you can never go wrong with a Corvette. Those always look cool. John Goodman is a great voice actor for Hound, and his military truck is cool. Drift is definitely my favorite of the new Autobots. The whole samurai aesthetic, and the Bugatti Veyron, and he's a triple changer that turns into a helicopter, and he's blue, which is always a win in my book. Bumblebee's evasion mode, the 1969 Camaro, was really cool, and I guess that the sequence when he transforms into his new Camaro is cool too, I guess. Now, this is kind of hard to say, because I see something about the Dinobots, and I'm just gonna go with the fact that they actually made it into the movie, and I'm glad they did. And I suppose that they did look badass in the final fight scene as well. I appreciated that the human antagonists, Savoy, Chelsea Grammer character, were not complete assholes. That was really nice, In Revenge of the Fallen, you had Galloway, and then in Dark of the Moon, you had that Charlotte Meering character, who were just outright assholes, and were just there just to be disliked anyways. Galvatron had little actual part in the final battle, and I was happy with that because he was so pointless anyway. He didn't do anything. Same with Stinger, and I'm glad that he died by the hands of Bumblebee, because it was ironic and it was awesome. And he was pointless too. The sequence where the Autobots are being chased by Galvatron and Stinger, and then Bumblebee and Prime transform, throw the humans in the air, jump over the bridge, catch the humans and transform back and keep driving. That scene was awesome. The movie's final showdown between Lockdown and Prime was very good, especially when Prime slices Lockdown like right from like here all the way up. That was cool. There's no shortage, obviously, of really awesome action in this movie. Only the one time. Oh, there's only one time that Galvatron actually says I'm Galvatron, which is fine because it would have got annoying if he had done that more. Prime charging in on Grimlock was really badass. And as always, Steve Jablonsky's score for this movie is amazing. The scene where Cade and the Autobots bust into KSI headquarters was awesome, and I could really tell how pissed Prime was when Joshua tells him that whole spoils of war dead metal thing. I mean, he was not happy. And then the scene with Cade, and he's chatting with Prime, and Cade tells him that whole bit about humans make mistakes. And you could tell Prime was kind of like, still, why are my kind dying for you? And it shows, the parallels that Cade and Prime have. Like, Cade has Tessa, who never listens, and Prime has Bumblebee, who never listens. Alright, now, things that they could have done better. The fact that they killed Ratchet right off the bat, like the first action sequence in the movie, I don't understand why they did that unless it's just because his toy is not selling. Now, we all know that Hasbro has done that in the past before. Ratchet also got taken down way too easily, despite being targeted by the humans and Lockdown. This particular scene also had too much military garble in it, and took the humans too long to set up all their equipment. Not to mention that if you have Lockdown working with the humans, why did the humans even bother to get involved in the first place? Why not just let Lockdown handle it? As much as I like this version of Lockdown, when he is in robot mode, you don't get much of a vibe that he actually transforms into a Lamborghini. Yeah. Here goes this part, right? Humans. Holy fuck, the humans in this movie. Everyone who is not Cade just flat out sucked. I'm sorry, but it's true. You have Tessa, who is painful. She's a painful character. She's a whiner and does nothing like Sam would. You have Shane, who just drives a race car in that one scene and then is useless for the rest of the movie until the drive backwards scene happens. Lucas, who was just comedy relief, and I didn't give a shit when he died. I'm sorry. Savoy, he was too kill happy for being in a government sanctioned group who kills Autobots, and does so many things that would be considered against the law, even for a government-sanctioned group. And, obviously he eventually falls to the easiest thing, like getting a stupid football thrown at him. And then Attinger was pretty much useless until the final fight, when he's trying to go after, Cade and the other guys. And then he was also the first human that was killed by Prime ever. And then the elevator scene with Joshua and that one girl and the martial arts guy has to save their asses. They could have cut that. That did nothing for me at all. So talking Autobots here. I like Prime's new robot mode, as I stated earlier, but the problem is that where do the truck parts go? All you see is the smokestacks on his back, and that's all of his vehicle that you actually see. It's kind of strange that he has virtually no truck parts on him. And as cool as Crosshair's looks, we never get to see him transform once. And unfortunately, Hound also falls into this category that we never saw him transform, and it's kind of starting to bother me. I also think that what they call Hound is more of Bulkhead's appearance with the personality of Hound. As I stated, Drift is a great character, but he needed more screen time. Heck, they all needed more screen time if you're not Optimus Prime or Bumblebee. But I do think Drift's triple changerness was wasted because it was only 2 scenes that they actually used his helicopter mode. And then what I'm getting tired of that this movie did is they gave Bumblebee way too much screen time. I don't dislike Bumblebee, I don't hate him, but, you know, you have other characters than Bumblebee, you need to use them more, and use him less. Okay, now, the Dinobots, they are a waste. They spend the entire this movie spends the entire opening sequence hyping up the fact that the Dinobots are most likely going to be in it. And then you see one, you know, when Prime was trapped on Lockdown's ship. And then they wait until the final 20 minutes of the movie, when we're all bored and falling asleep, to put the Dinobots into action. And to add to that, the Dinobots don't have any personalities, and they're just grayish, silverish boringness. I mean, even the toys had color to them. What the fuck did Hasbro do with this? And there's only 4 Dinobots when there's supposed to be 5. Okay, yeah. There's no Decepticons in this movie at all. You have the KSI drones, which very shittily replaced the Decepticons, and the only focus they put on any of them is Galvatron and Stinger, which, I mean, Galvatron was kind of just, you know, a command person. He just told the other KSI drones to go do stuff. And I mean, Stinger did a little bit more, but he's just Red Bumblebee, like Cliffjumper in G1. He's just Red Bumblebee, but he doesn't do, you know, Cliffjumper in G1 would have been way better than him anyway. Hell, he is way better than Stinger. And I think that choice was just so that Hasbro could be lazy when they did decide to make the toy version of Stinger. They could just repaint Bumblebee. And then the absolutely disgraceful way that they do their, I can't even call it transforming. It's parts forming. That whole cubicle shifting bullshit. Yeah, that's the movie saying fuck you, audience. Whoever was in charge of coming up with names for this movie, who in the right mind? Who needs to be fucking strangled for coming up with Transformium? Who? I mean, it's such a stupid name for anything. There was just no creativity that went into naming this special element at all. I believe that the entire driving backwards sequence with the giant magnet thing on Lockdown's ship could have just been cut. Completely. It does nothing except show for the second time how amazing of a stunt driver that Shane, who's already a waste of a character anyway, is. This movie is full of product placement, to the point that it's just an eyesore. What? I guess this should have been in the question, but we'll just get it out of the way now. Why did they spend the time that they did to to fully explain why it's actually legal for Shane and Tessa to be together. They could have just cut that out as well, but they didn't. The fact that this movie is 2 hours and 45 minutes is just horrible. The first fight between Prime and Galvatron towards the end of the fight, Lockdown just kind of appears out of nowhere and finishes Prime off, and Galvatron returns to KSI off screen. And the fact that I can say that Prime's fighting skills would be so much better, that the person who is controlling Galvatron, they should not have had a chance, and Prime should have just torn him up and destroyed him. The biggest issue with this movie, and Dark of the Moon has this problem too, is that the end of the movie drags itself out as much as possible, which lends to me getting bored by the end of the movie and not being a whole lot interested when the Dinobots do finally make it on the screen. With the amount of all the robots in the action scene where the Autobots are taking on the KSI drones, it's very easy to lose track of who's where and who's who. And that's bad. That's just bad. They could have cut the scene with Cade, Tessa, and Shane when they're on Lockdown's ship and they're in that spinning chamber thing, and Shane says something like, "Hey, Jaeger, invent us a way out of this." I don't remember the line. That scene was pointless and could have just been cut anyways. Okay. The questions. Where did the parts of Prime's truck go when he transformed? Why didn't they show Crosshair's transform a single time? Why didn't they show Hound transform a single time? Why were the Dinobots even in this film at all? Where does Lockdown's ship go after he's killed? Why did Lockdown wait till the end of the fight to attack Prime? Why was Joshua so surprised when Galvatron talked for the first time? Why did the toy versions of Galvatron and Stinger have a regular transformation? Why didn't they really edit this movie and cut out the unimportant scenes? So overall, this movie is not a very good sequel to Dark of the Moon, in my opinion. The long runtime and lengthy and drawn-out finale gets boring after a while. It's hard to tell who's who and what's going on. But don't get me wrong, I still like the movie as a popcorn flick, of course. But there's so much that they could have cut out, lots of things left unexplained, and way too much product placement. So that being said, I'm gonna give this a 5 out of 10.